So welcome to another episode of the Tock Show. This is our second one, and we thought we would sort of, push the boat out a little bit and bring some international folks across.
But will it be our second one? Said the voice, disembodied in the background.
Oh, second one recorded. It might be the third one that goes out though.
Yeah, it might be.
We'll just have to see. So we've got the good lad from Horage. For anyone that's actually viewing this for the first time and hasn't heard our podcast and doesn't recognise the disembodied voice there, that's Rick, one of our co-hosts. But because he's not dead, but because he's a spy and he doesn't want people to know what he looks like, he always stays off camera. And if you could see his face, you'd be quite happy about this.
It's also because I don't own a black t-shirt.
Well, we thought we were coming to your funeral. That's why we decided.
Yeah.
At least I've got a nice brand that I can blur out later on.
Coordinating your dress today, black t-shirts on black sofas. Great.
Anyway, on with the show. So, the reason that you're over here is because you guys have appeared on social media in the last few months, taking the place by storm. Loads of people are talking about the brand, what you guys are working on, and you've sent us a few pieces to look at. We've spoken about them in the podcast. I absolutely hated the first one that you sent across.
I loved it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
And then you guys, instead of throwing the toys out the pram, which most people do, you decided to send us different watches to have a look at, including ones I really do like. So that's why we've got you across. So do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the brand?
Yeah, I'm Landon. So I'm newest to the company. I've known Andy here for a couple of years now. We got to know each other through a technology project, which we'll talk about sometime in future times, probably not today. Mm-hmm. But we got to know each other through that. I've worked in the sports industry for a number of years, and Andy as well. And so it was through that sports industry know-how, through retailing, wholesaling, and all of that, as well as marketing, that Andy had asked me to come and join Horage and start the marketing engine.
Horage, and, that's what we're going with. Okay.
With Horage, and and bring it to where it is, where we are sitting today. So that's a little bit of my background. Andy's got. He's the founder of Horage, so he's got.
So he should have spoken first.
He should have spoken first.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if he would have spoken first, he would never.
Beauty before what?
Yeah.
How do you call that?
That was an apology.
Yeah.
That was almost an apology.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I am a Canadian. And I will say sorry many times in this podcast.
You have done in emails and private messages in the past, yeah. And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And
I'm Andy, and I somehow started it together with my wife.
Right.
And I came up with that name, which is a blend of Aura, Latin, Age, English, French sounds like. Mm-hmm. So 3 countries, or 3 cultures, I would say. And and it's pronounced Horage. So
Horage.
Rolex.
So it's a silent H.
Yeah.
Like Hublot.
Hublet.
It's going to be one of those recordings, isn't it?
I'm already looking forward to this. It's going to be good.
Oh, right, okay. So
people from the Swiss watch industry that are prepared to have a go at other members of the Swiss watch industry. This is what we like.
Well, we did have somebody on recently that gave a good stabbing to everybody else. So it's good to have people in person doing it as well.
Exactly.
So I don't know how Rick found you guys, but he did. He finds all the sort of gems in the dirt, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, and you sent across, what was the watch that you sent across for him to have a look at?
The Tock. Yeah.
The Tock.
Yes,
right,
and
have you got that one here?
The carbon dial here. So this was the one we sent across, and I believe it wasn't the one you wanted, right?
I wanted to see the 10th year anniversary one. That one.
The 10 year.
Was it
10 years? That one
over
there, yeah.
Yes, I like the look of that one.
Oh.
I really love the strap on that. I think it's quite something. And what attracted me to it in the first place was really the colour on the dial, which I find really unusual. You've got a power reserve that's actually got a little, I want to say a little swatch of colour, but that's probably not appropriate. But a little burst of colour, which is something really different. It's just not what you expect. The big date or I don't know, do you refer to that as a big date? Or do you refer
it's a big date.
You refer to it as a big date. Again, I thought it was particularly attractive. It's your own in-house movement, which we'll talk about. It's called the K1 movement.
Yeah.
Is that right? And I'm fascinated to know how on earth you managed to wake up one morning with your wife and decide to have like a watch company rather than, children or go on holiday somewhere. Or that's normally what happens. But no, let's start a watch brand. Because because that's like a stress-free existence. So talk us through how on earth, because I mean, there's plenty of smaller brands out there that will buy in movements from all sorts of places, the ETAs, the Sleeters, the Seikos of the world. But you've really decided to tackle this from the ground up. So first of all, what was the background?
Well, first of all, let's do a wrist check.
Oh yeah, let's go for it.
What have we got here?
Multiply, full spec, black, size 40.
Cool, very nice.
That was a very exquisite answer. Very concise. And you've got?
I have the Omnium. Yeah, so this was the first watch that we made.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a facet cut sapphire, big date, and 904L stainless steel. something a little bit.
904L?
Yeah, 904L.
I've heard of that before, but it changed its name a couple of years ago. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Interesting.
call it,
They call it
we don't
something
talk
else
about
now. Yeah. I'm sure it's trademarked. No one mentioned that.
The facet sapphire in this is particularly interesting. I've never seen that in a watch before. It's a 5 cut. We'll need to try and get some close-up pictures of it. But it means that it really does come alive when you look at it. Even though it's quite a straightforward dial, the way it catches the light really makes it change. It almost made me think that the hands and the indices were actually luminous, but they're not. It's just the way that it catches the light from all directions. It really gives it.
Actually, when you look at it from that side, you see it, and it's a little nearly invisible, and that was the idea, you know. That's actually the first watch we asked. We were making, and we asked our friend, who is a designer, not famous but very important designer in the industry, to make a watch for herself. It's a she.
Right.
Yeah. And because usually, and that's why I come back to why we started that. Is that a great idea to make a movement? Probably not. There are better ways to earn money, I think. But you know, my wife and her friend, they were in the industry since 1998.
In the watch industry?
Yeah, in the watch industry,
right.
suppliers industry.
So what you're basically saying is it's your wife's fault?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And my wife, actually, she started to supply Swiss companies with dial design and dial know-how, really. So she's a dial expert. I don't know how many millions of dials they have made and thousands and thousands of designs for most of the Swiss companies. And you know, when the watch industry was taking off in 1998 or 95, you know, that they needed so much volume that nobody in Switzerland can produce that. So they needed Asian suppliers. And my wife is from Taiwan, and she was studying in Berlin, and then went to Switzerland and said, hey, I want to borrow some money from his father, from her father, and started the company. And then they connected Asian factories with Swiss companies providing dials, and that's why she is a dial expert, I would say. And it's a typical supplier's business. And with the phasing out, the reasoning was very simple. You know, phasing out, ETA probably doesn't ship any movement anymore. That's currently discussion. It was in 2003, the main discussion. And then she was reasoning, said, if we don't have movements for our clients when they are not Swatch Group, then they probably don't need dials. You know, a little bit of logic thinking behind that. And she thought, and then we also thought, okay, you're always a supplier in the supplier's business. Big companies insource this stuff. What do you do when you don't have business anymore? I probably should think about a brand, you know. I don't know if this was a smart idea, but but we thought about that. I remember it was a barbecue party, and we came together.
So there was alcohol involved. So
kind of, yeah.
This is all
That's why when you get these dumb ideas, you know.
Usually you forget them in the morning. You don't put them into sort of planning.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm wearing a Rolex Batman, in case anyone wants.
That's okay,
Still
good
doing
product,
it,
by the way.
yes. Yeah.
When I look out of the window of my office, I see the Rolex crown on top of the manufacturing building for that movement. 1 kilometer down the road.
Nice.
Should have brought a picture.
We'll be paying you a visit soon enough. So continue with your story.
And from there,
Nobody wants to know what I'm wearing, no?
Nobody can see you. There's no point. Panerai?
Yeah.
Panerai, cool.
Oh, thanks, Gigi. Shout out to Gigi. Time to Talk Watches.
Why are we shouting him out?
Because Gigi brought me prezzies from Panerai. So there you go.
What did you get?
I got a baseball cap, and I got a couple of books and a bag.
no watch.
Nice.
No watch. Actually, Gigi, why am I thanking you? Didn't bring me a watch. Gigi, go away.
That's because you stood him up when he came to
I
Glasgow.
did stand them up.
Yeah.
He came to Glasgow, came to see us, and I was a no-show. But
Pretty much every day in life.
It was like the 4th of January or something. No sensible Scotsman's back on the streets on the 4th of January.
But you don't drink, so
That
you
is
should have
also
been.
true.
Should have been released by then.
Somebody has to tidy up.
Glad you guys showed up today, though. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was a real surprise we got here. And it's turned out not bad so far. Nice little venue. We're in 29 in Glasgow, which is fairly quiet. There's just a little bit of a drone in the background, but one of the fridges or the air conditioning units is left on. And we have a helper. Are we allowed to name the helper that we've got with us?
I don't know.
Nope, we're not allowed to name who that is.
He is one of our confirmed watch spies.
Yes.
That's all we're saying.
Another spy.
He's in
Another
the room.
spy.
There are far too many spies. Have you come across any spies in the watch industry?
It's full of it.
You're not allowed to talk about them.
I think passing through Switzerland, though, it's neutral country. Well, yeah, there's definitely folk there working for people getting into China, South Korea, North Korea. Who knows anyway? Kim Jong Il's Rolex.
So continue with your story.
Where did we stop? We stopped actually
Barbecue.
at the drinking
Barbecue.
and barbecue.
Yep, barbecues.
Drinking, barbecue, and then we said, okay, we make a watch. We start thinking about a brand because suppliers typically don't pay your retirement fund when they don't order anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So do something for yourself and something you like. And it was more a hobby, I would say. You know, it was not so serious in the beginning. And then we made that watch, and it was based originally. It was 18-karat gold watches with a ETA Sopro movement inside, and we bought that movement also kind of in the gray market, you know.
Yeah.
But then we started thinking about it. I mean, how stupid is that? You start a business and then you are dependent on some how do you say, unsecure sources.
One source, you don't have any
doesn't
second
make
sources.
too much sense. So, and we recognized very quickly that even if we are in the industry, sorry, I touched the microphone.
That's okay. You keep moving your seat as well, but I'm not going to say anything about it.
Okay. So even if we are in the industry, we probably might get a hard time to have a secure supply. And in case you grow and are successful, then you might have a problem with that. And so from there, we started to think about how do you secure that movement thing, and we negotiated with Rocher Manufacture. You probably know that because we knew the people, and it was okay at this time. After 2 years of negotiation, they said, we probably can buy something. And then the company bought a major stake in Rocher Manufacture. This is Hermes. Everybody knows that. And then it was ordered not to ship anything to new clients anymore. So same problem again, no movement.
What year was this? What year was this?
2007.
Right. Okay.
So quite early. And then I remember when we drove back from that negotiation or from this discussion, you know, I mean, you don't negotiate with a company like that. And said, okay, we have to do it by ourselves. Because we saw the factory and we saw the things lined up there and said, probably we can do that. And from that point, we used all the money we earned from OEM business and put it into building a movement, which is that one, the small one here.
Right.
The other one is Breitling.
That's the key one.
Yeah, that's a K1, yeah. And and of course, I mean, you know, you're naive. I mean, nobody's doing that with your money. We could have spent, as you said, probably going for holiday or buying some other stuff with that.
Yeah.
But everybody who knows my wife and some people who know me, we just give it a shot. And what else do you have to lose? Yeah? And,
why is it called the K1? Why the K?
The K1 is a pretty steep mountain, you know.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's hard to climb. Right, okay. A lot of death in between.
So this was a watch brand that actually had casualties, that we were saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, we then hired a young engineer from Eterna at that time, Stefan Kussmaul. His name is also K.
Oh, right.
You know. And so he was in charge of coming up with a new design for a modular new design for a movement, not just cloning stuff. You know, we thought about that. You know, like Selita took what's there and they tried to make that in the same quality. But when you think about it, it's not very smart, in my opinion, as another one cloning another movement. Yeah. So what do you have to be? You have to be cheaper and better. How can you be cheaper and better than ETA? You can't. So we decided to design from ground up.
And why is this beside another movement?
because I have serious respect from Breitling. Breitling in 2003, Teddy Schneider, he took 50 million out of his pocket and invested it into that movement, which was actually a design by a group of ex-Rolex people. And
So what is this here?
that's a Breitling movement.
The what model?
B01.
Oh, that's the old one.
Yeah, that's a B01. And they invested all that money and went the hard way and made themselves more independent and very early. It's 2003. So, and I know the people there. They're good people. They do a good job. And so we then spent probably the first 5 years after we have launched the brand in 2008, which is not a very good time,
Not great timing.
No, not at all. Shit time,
At least you weren't building houses. So.
Yeah. Before you should have been being in this building thing before, but we launched in Basel World, and then we tried to walk, and then we found out the whole movement thing doesn't really work out, and we needed a lot of time, and then we froze the whole brand in 2010 again. So then we had only this one watch, and so we spent between 2010 and 2014 more or less silent under the radar doing engineering and trying to make that thing work. And we thought we can make it in 5 years, but yeah, this is a dreaming thing, and we needed a lot of time, and you have to build it 3 times until it works, and then sometime in 2013 we recognized I think that was going to work, and in 2014 we didn't find any additional investors, so we put all our money in there, and then crowdfunding was about to be cool, and we said, why not giving it a try and using it? I mean, you can't refinance a project like that with crowdfunding, but we said, why not coming out with it? Using it as a tool to come out and to find customers who trust into something, invest a little bit of money in a product and help us to get the product on the wrist. Because you can do endless lab testing, but you don't find the stuff in the reality, and in the lab you find different stuff. And so, we found 120 backers, and they gave us 120,000 pounds at this time, because there was no Swiss crowdfunding at this time.
Oh.
We did it through the UK.
Right, okay.
And
What was that, Kickstarter?
Kickstarter, it was Kickstarter. And good fun, and we had no idea about the whole thing. We just said, we should raise 100,000, should be possible, but offering a watch for $1,500 US or 1,300 pounds, I think, at this time, was top of the line. And and then it was 30 days, 24/7 typing thing, And people thought we are lying, or probably some of you read some stuff in What You Seek or in some forums, things
There
like
was
this.
some comments about the things in Kickstarter the early days.
Some of them, they thought it was a scam.
Right.
Oh.
And I needed to spend a lot of time to make sure that they understand it's not a scam. Some things like this happen sometimes in the world, and even some of the people were visiting us, and because I invited them, it's like, how can I prove that it's not a scam? Come. Someone independent, and people came, and One and Round guys actually reached out to us, and then it took a different turn. And that's more or less this rebirth through Kickstarter. And that's how it was.
No, Kickstarter's probably where I bought one of my early watches, because I never wore a watch from probably the 90s onwards.
Okay.
And then I was into tech, and the Pebble came out, and I backed that on Kickstarter, and then it turned up, and it wasn't as good as it could have been. And then I got the steel version, and it was okay, and then obviously they get bought by Fitbit, I think it was. But there's so many scams on Kickstarter, and even to this day, there's a gentleman who runs a YouTube channel who keeps changing his name for some reason and keeps deleting videos. But anyway, so there are a lot of scams out there even to this day. So it's natural the public wouldn't really believe in something. And we hear stories from brands, new brands, micro brands, boutique brands all the time that say, we're building our own movement. I was down at a watch show end of last year in England. And the first thing the guy said to me was, we're using like ETA base at the moment, but next year we're going to have our own movement coming out. And I'm thinking, alrighty then. So no, it's interesting to hear the sort of how things start and how long it takes. people just don't get it. The R&D and
I
everything
can
else.
guarantee you for a manufacturer style movement that's different. You can do that in 3 to 5 years. For an industrial style movement, and a Rolex is an industrial style movement, and ETA is an industrial style movement. This is an industrial style movement. You need 7 to 10 years.
And what's the difference?
You can't shortcut that.
No.
What do you mean by an industrial set? As in something that can be more mass produced, that is tougher?
Yeah, I mean, they need to be able to produce that roughly at 1 million pieces. Yeah. And this means you need to think not only the design, you need to think all the supply chain, de-risking everything. When there's it's 173 parts in our movement, 150 something in the Rolex, I think. If one thing doesn't come in time or it doesn't work, you can't ship. So you spend the majority of time in trying to figure out how the whole process is. And how do it's a thousands of millimeter game, and you can f up things 150 times 4, 5, 6 times. Yeah. So it's an endless thing, and you need to find out all these little tricks and details besides the fact that you have dependencies to some suppliers. So if someone, and that's what I think, industrial scale movement making, you can do probably in Japan, but you can't really, because Japan, Seiko and Citizen, they control by themselves. It's their stuff, they have their own manufacturing. It's not like in Switzerland that everywhere there's a supplier. And you can't even do that in Germany, I'm pretty sure, because you need some small suppliers who have some very specific know-how about coating, hardening, special treatments, which you need to make industrial scale products. And it's 10 times more difficult than doing manufacture. It's easy to make things expensive. Yeah. Everybody can do that. But making it efficient and producible and reliable just takes a long time. And you need to produce that 3 times in volume to figure out, because you start with a dream. and then the dream is like burst, shit doesn't work. And then you redesign the thing, and then the next one probably is kind of okay working. And then you redesign it again. So in fact, you do that 3 times with 173 parts, where most of the things you don't know. And then the 3rd time, and that's where we are now, I would say that's the time where things really work. And then you continue to optimize constantly. And that's why Kickstarter was very helpful for us, because we got a feedback. Yeah, we also had some problems, but we always communicated that publicly.
Well, look at other companies like Rolex. I mean, they had their 3185 movement that had problems with the GMT, and the hand would flip around and whatnot, so they upgraded to 3186. Tudor, Rolex again, obviously, with their Tudor GMT that you've got.
Yes, I have got it, it's fine.
And our nameless friend has got one as well. And the date issues that constantly we see.
The new one, the new movement of Tudor?
The one that came out a couple of years ago. The date
the thicker
wheel,
one, yeah.
It sits in between different dates. And then
there's
even
always
tag.
shit happening.
Yeah, look at tag and their equestrian issues with the glue.
Isograph?
I
think they've deleted that from Google. I think they've paid Google to remove any reference to Isograph from Tag Heuer, because they used the wrong kind of glue in the silicon, which you guys have a bit of experience of actually using the right kind of ways because of your own silicon escapements that you use.
Yeah, that was a big thing that the team invested in earlier on. We saw that what was going to be happening with silicon technologies, and Andy, along with Jonas, our head engineer, and Florian as well, took it upon themselves to really investigate that and to start building out a strategic plan for the future of our product, because the only way that you can win in this industry is through innovation and marketing.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of marketing going on. There's a lot of marketing fluff, and everybody says, we are doing this, it's Swiss made, blah, blah, blah. But there is not a lot investing in new technologies and sort of pushing the envelope of innovation, because it costs a lot of money. And you have to do it 3 times or more
at least.
to sort of prove that it does work. So I'll let Andy speak to the silicon escapement a bit more.
So, we started a brand which was in the beginning a hobby. We didn't want to make a movement, but we had to because we didn't get one. So then we thought, okay, we probably can do that movement engineering thing, but every watch, everybody knows, needs these kind of little devices, which escapement and spring. Yeah. And then you have a company which is pretty big called Nivarox, and we didn't get those parts because everybody knows what's going on there. And so by nature, we had to dive into learning that because we didn't have parts. Yeah. And without these parts, you can't do the movement. And naturally, we started to look into it, and also an accident, I would say. So
yeah. Okay.
You seem to be rather accident prone. It's a concern. So is the K1 movement such that is now the bedrock of everything? You can put modules on top of it. It's designed so that it can grow into other avenues.
It is a modular movement, and that there's 18 different variations that you can make from the movement itself, but it's not designed to have a top module or another module put to it. It's meant to remain extremely balanced and to have a lot of offering in a very small, very precise movement. For other things, our engineering team has other options. If somebody's looking for some sort of different. I'm losing my train of thought here. Modularity. Yeah.
But why actually we didn't put stuff on top? Because when you have that watch and you put a module on a movement, then the crown's going down, and it looks like shit.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to have that, because when you want to have a watch in a certain category, the whole stuff should be balanced. We are talking about small stuff, and you see it. And that movement was designed. We said, okay, we need to be below 5 millimeter because that's the game. That's the difficult game. Everything above, you can make big movements. Even my nephew can do that. No, okay. but when it's getting small and diameter 25.6, you're talking about totally different engineering. Right. Because if you f up things in the design, you can't just change and take off a little bit of some material somewhere. Everything is getting very tight all of a sudden. That's why an ETA 2892 is obviously a good product. Yeah, you can't argue on that. But it was designed 40 years ago and improved, and we had to start from scratch. And when we started from scratch, we said, okay, what do we need? We need a certain amount of function. I don't want to need a magnifier to see the date, so probably a date window might be a good thing, a big date. And small second is something mandatory kind of thing, but you need small dates also, because small watches probably need a small date, and a power reserve indicator, because I thought I'm not, I don't have a watch winder. I find that a little bit awkward, and I want to see when I don't wear it, it still works. And power reserve indicator, at this time, people said, it's an automatic watch, you don't need that. I said, no, but I need it. So that's why we do it.
Your company, so you can do what you like.
And so we did that.
That's the rules.
And the job was to also, in order to survive the whole thing, we didn't want to have too much inventory. And all these watches are based actually on the same movement. Right. We just take out stuff when we don't need it. And the design is made full spec like this, but you can also have it with not much, like a center second and small date. And it's always kind of the same modularity involved into that. And can we do that? So, and this was the idea. So always the same height and modularity in combination. Of course, that's limiting to a certain degree, but for us and for a number of other companies who might be interested in that, makes sense. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, you are not being taken serious. That's the best thing. Yeah. So nobody takes you serious because everybody knows it's damn hard to do that. But when it starts to turn out that you might have success and that you came up with a good construction, I can tell you that movement was analyzed by more or less all of the big companies in this industry. They know what that is. Right. And it is perhaps currently the only design in the Swiss industry which could be industrialized to a certain scale. At least I don't know anything else, which is not a clone, I mean, cloning, okay, but this can be produced in a necessary scale if necessary. We don't do that now, but we could. And then people look a little bit more carefully on that. And that's where, you end up, and whenever it sounds like you can earn money with some stuff, you're going to get into trouble. because someone else probably might earn less money with it. and that's happened in the past 2 years. So in fact, we also ended up in front of court. We were taken to court by a research institute, which is backed by some major companies in Switzerland, and on a patent fight, which I believe is not justified. And discussion ongoing, I would say. But it shows that obviously, and especially in times where the industry has a little bit of a problem, perhaps, because there's a guy with an apple, and then they try to defend the market, and that's natural. Who cares? But I mean, that's the game. You have to get through that.
And so you must obviously have a deep understanding of everything that's going on in the watch industry in general. How do you see things progressing at the moment? Is it on the way up? Is it on the way down? Or is it just complete uncertainty?
I would say there will be always room for products like that. I think the mechanical watch industry is, as you said, it's a hobby. It's a nice hobby. You can read time with something else. We agree on that.
Yeah.
But it's nice to read it like that, and it's nice to spend some money on it and deal with it. And we look at it more as a engineering challenge, I would say. It's a challenging thing to do. And the watch industry probably might be stable, the Swiss watch industry, at 6 million pieces, roughly, I guess. Probably will never grow again. But I also don't think that it will be dramatically shrinking. So it probably will stay in this level. And this means, you need to add a lot of watch for the money in future, like it is in such a market. And I guess the technical game is being upped. So Rolex is tightening down on the precision and so on. So these are signs of if you want to play in that hobby, then you need to really show that you can have credible watchmaking background.
Not just on movement development, but also on design. And that's why it's important not to have all this look-alike stuff that's going around or that's currently in the market. You have all these other brands that are coming up and making ones that look like A or B brand.
So do you have a blue face steel sports watch or an integrated bracelet?
No.
We're talking about that in the morning.
But you guys are also, from what I'm led to believe, in the market to supply others with the movement now that obviously you developed it and you guys are happy bringing that to market.
The original idea was to do two things: serve our own need for our own little brand, and while we are doing that, probably sell the movement to others. Because otherwise you don't need to do industrial scale engineering. Luckily we did. But now we have changed a little bit the direction, because the Swiss industry is a little bit strange. They all complain about not having movements. But if you put that on the table and say, look here, okay, now 15 million put in a factory, set up the factory, and said, I don't know, 15 million, a lot of money. And so we were discussing a lot with quite some heavyweight brands, and they just were shy on putting the money on the table and do that. So we went back from that a little bit and said, now we look in a different business model and say, what can we do with that? We would like to work together with credible brands who have a serious interest in watchmaking, not just make some watches and sell them through Kickstarter. Serious watchmaking is the topic, and we would like to come up with something called hosted manufacturing, because not everybody can do that, and it doesn't make sense for everybody to invest all that time and do that. So we are actually offering this intellectual property to someone. We help them to set up their own watchmaking infrastructure so that they can actually also acquire that know-how based on a transparent purchasing process. So it's something we are trying now. I mean, I don't know if it works, but
so about
sounds cool.
Scottish watches becomes Scottish watches? No?
Yeah. See, it's possible.
We can call it, I tell you what, we'll call it Horage over here.
Good work.
Horage watches.
Horage watch.
Well, why don't we run through some of what you've brought now? We got complaints in the last talk show we put together because we ran out of time and we didn't get a chance to do close-ups of the watches. So you showed me them, explain a little bit about them, and then what we'll do is we'll cut away to some close-ups so that the viewers can actually understand what it is we've got on the table here. So why don't we start with the first watch you guys brought out?
You do that or I do that?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
We start.
we start with that one.
Okay, so that way or that way? It doesn't matter.
bit of
So
both.
we do.
A bit of both. Show me it.
Okay. So that's, as said, Omnium. It was the first watch. In the beginning, it was based on this ETA thing, and then we skipped the whole thing. And when we were ready with our movement, we put it on the K1. And this has as you see, the thing was we wanted to have a modern classic design, not too roundish and not too edgy, both at the same time. And it should have a relatively simple dial, but you shouldn't feel boring. So we came up with this sapphire crystal idea where you have these hardly visible cuts, but when you go over the fingernail, you can see that. And this watch is damn hard to shoot. So picture, you can make watches for photography.
Is it easier if you use a Leica camera to shoot it? Does that make it simple?
I'm not in photography, but I will probably can ask him. It's super hard to show it on a piece of paper, on a picture.
It needs to be moving.
Yeah, you need to wear it. Actually, you need to wear it. And it's an amazing watch. And the people who are really into the Swiss, really experts of the Swiss watch industry, which we know some of them, they like that.
Yeah.
It's
nice.
a subtle thing,
Yeah.
It's not,
very cool. I mean,
it's not in the
I've
face
seen
that
it.
I have that watch.
Yeah.
And so I like that. It's my personal favorite.
So when did this one come out?
The design for it came out in 2008.
And when did it launch?
And then relaunch with a new movement in 2015.
Is it still available or is it sold out?
Yeah. We usually don't skip things. So.
And why does it say handmade on the dial instead of Swiss made?
I think we can easily comply to Swiss made because when you do that, you are by far more than 60% compliant. Handmade is a little bit of a joke, because we first of all, also when you do movements, everything is done by hand. People put stuff by hand together, and even if you program a computer, you do that by hand. And if you run a machine, you do that by hand. And some companies entirely rely on Swiss made being their only justification.
Yeah.
And we don't need that. We are far away from national marketing things because we are a team of, Canadian,
German,
Taiwanese, German, Swiss. So we are not really into this national thing.
Yeah.
And so handmade was kind of a joke, and we put it there.
I am sensing as we continue talking and as we met you all this morning, also I've spoken on the phone a number of times, there is a touch of the Moser's
sense of humour.
Sense of humour, which is really, really refreshing to see.
Yes.
So the fact that you've put that on, because obviously it's Swiss made, because it's certification and it's based in Switzerland. It's your own movement, and you're not trying to sell it on the basis that it's Swiss made. You're trying to sell it on the basis that it's good.
It's good that some people have a sense of humour and they don't maybe send us Instagram messages where they get a little bit stroppy and want things removed. But hey.
And they're welcome on the show anytime.
They are indeed.
TGV and the guy we're referring to and any of his colleagues who happen to be based in the United States are always welcome.
Kevin Spacey.
And when you look at that, just look at that from this side.
Yeah.
Case making wise, that's top-notch case design.
It is very
It's
cool.
really small details, and you always detect something new there. Kind of. Also, it looks like a simple product, but it's something you can look at. Yeah. I have one since 2008, and it doesn't get boring. And that's the key of a good watch design, I think.
Yeah, totally. Another thing I noticed there and on the other watches is the way the date is split.
Yeah.
So instead of one rotating disc, you guys have got two.
Yeah.
We do have one on the smaller.
The Omnium Small 32, that's the smallest watch we can make with that movement. So you look at these two, it's relatively small. Because ladies, and same style, same movement, just a different disc. And here you see, actually, that's the big disc, the outer disc of the big date is the small.
Everything's just put on it. So why did you go with the two?
No other space. 25.6 means there's just not enough space to make a bigger disc.
Right. Did that pose any difficulties with engineering?
Super difficult.
I'm glad I asked.
Pain in the ass.
All right.
It's
So when did you decide you're going to carry on instead of just throwing it in the bin?
somehow, I don't know. You know, our Jonas, our engineer, he was this kind of the lonely fighter, and he just doesn't give up. And my wife also, we are not the type of people who give up. You need to get through that, even it's pain. And you learn a lot. I mean, we really do every single process of every part in this watch. We know we control every process. We don't ship. You know, there are two ways to do that. Either you make that and buy process parts, finished parts, revetted, or you really design it, ask the right guy with the right machine to do this, and then bring it to the next guy. And that's what we do. And that's the only way to understand what you're doing. Yeah. Because if shit doesn't work, why does it not work? And that's how we came across with that solution. And a double disc big date it is a hard thing. Yeah. You know,
it is cool. It's very different.
We didn't know that it's so hard.
Cool. Right. And what was on from there?
You've been talking about solar wind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a smaller version of it.
So we kind of had a loan of this one, and I gave it to somebody. Yeah, and you don't look too unhappy, so that's good. No, I had Dave Sharp, Floatlight from Red Bar. He was over seeing me at the weekend there, recording a podcast, and I thought I'm going to surprise him with these things because he's only ever seen the one that Rick had, and he didn't like it either. So me and him have got good taste.
No taste. There's no taste.
Great taste. And I said, wait till you see these other ones. And you had sent me 3 over. That one there, Solar Wind.
The Multiply.
That Multiply and
an Array.
The Array.
Yeah.
And when I got him to unbox so he could get the experience. He looked at the postcard. He liked the way that you guys had your logo not embossed, but stenciled, laser stenciled, which looked really good. He was quite taken by that. And he obviously buys a lot of watches and has a good collection. So he had a look through that. He unwound the watch roll that he supplied, which I think is fantastic quality. And then when he got the Solar Wind out, he actually sat there looking at it, examining it, and then thought, I could buy one of these. So
good idea.
Good idea. That's what I thought. So I thought I'll let him keep a hold of it because obviously we've got an evening tonight in association with Red Bar, so he's got that, and you will get it back unless he pays you for it. But yeah, it was the one I liked as well because it's not like anything else I've seen.
So did you have any questions about it?
Let's have a look. Let me think.
I have a question about meteorite dials.
Yeah.
I was once told, and I now believe it not to be true, that all meteorite dial watches come from the same meteorite.
No.
Now, I believe that's not. That was on I'm sure that was either on a Blog to Watch or Hodinkee, or I think it was Hodinkee, and it was Jack Forster, I think, that said that somewhere. I'm like, that can't be right.
It was an April Fool's.
Maybe it was an April Fool's. So explain the process of how on earth, who do you phone in the Yellow Pages to say, can I buy some meteorite, please?
Area 51.
First they have to fall from space.
So you wait right for a bit to get
Before they
going.
travel some millions of years through that space.
So is it somebody with a big shed? Is it like a garden hut operation?
You're dealing with a guy who collects rocks that fall from space.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was a friend of ours.
Has he got like a tinfoil hat on?
No, a friend of ours is into collecting stones. His business is stones. Is a Taiwanese guy.
Okay.
One of the biggest meteorite collectors, I think, in that, if you call that an industry or a hobby. Right. And we got to know him and said, yeah, that's cool. Can we make a watch with that? And it turned out that he's supplying to others in the industry meteorite.
Rolex.
And Rolex and Jaeger, and there are some of those. And this one is a Swedish one.
So is it possible that it's not that they all come from the same meteorite, it's they all come from the same shed?
Possibly,
It could be, very likely.
Meteorite monopoly. We should get into meteorites, Ricky. There's clearly a future in meteorite future.
And they don't get more, And if a big one is falling out of that sky, we probably have a problem.
We were looking at that.
Watches is not our issue here.
So we were looking at the value of meteorite yesterday on your phone, the current value of it and how it compares to the price of gold.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's significantly more valuable
Really?
than the price of gold.
Right.
Wow.
Very expensive.
And
stuff.
how big a slice or a sliver do you guys use for the dials?
The thickness of that cut slice is 0.8, and then you have to glue on the back a brass piece to hold it on from the dial feet, and then you need to nano coat that stuff.
Do you use nitrates to bring out the etching of the actual design?
No.
No.
Just flat cut, and then we coat it because it's iron, and if you have it bare, it's rust. It's rusting immediately. On the one, we had a little bit rhodium to have it make a little bit more contrasty. And then the power reserve indicator, which was on the big one, which we don't have here right now. You have these little dots. It's
What are
a
they made
nightmare
of?
to process.
What are the
The
dots,
dots
made
are
of?
made of brass,
Oh.
but 3/4 of a cut. It's not half cut, and then you coat it with black plating. Looks like mercury, but isn't. And then you need to drill that. I mean, that's iron. It's non-homogeneous iron stuff, and you need to drill a 0.3 millimeter hole in the iron thing. 0.3 millimeter hole is nothing, broken. And it's a nightmare to manufacture that. I don't know how many of these drills we broke, and it's.
Well, you asked if I had any questions, and I do. There's a couple. One is the sort of chapter ring rehot area. Where did that design come from? Because I've not seen that before.
When the meteorite falls out of that sky, it makes a pretty big hole. And when you look in this, there's a crater in Arizona. The big one. These side flanks look like that.
Oh,
This
really?
was the inspiration, and that's where we came up with this thing.
Well, I said, I don't know if it was on a podcast that's out just yet, but I mentioned that it reminded me of when they go inside the alien spacecraft on Independence Day.
Yeah.
And they don't have computers and consoles. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
kind of organic metal.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah,
It's
the
absolutely
real,
fantastic.
but it's a cool comparison. I mean, we can interpret all kind of things into it, which comes to space. And the idea was, okay, meteorite makes a crater. How does a crater look like on the side? It's this kind of couloirs in writing, and that's how it came together. And the writing on back was also inspired. I always had this image, Star Wars, Count Dooku and his solar sail
Oh, right.
ship.
Yeah.
The most cool.
He's a Trekkie, he doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
I know Baby Yoda. That's
Okay. Okay, I forgot that.
Yeah.
But this ship, that's where the name came from.
Right, okay.
This cool, he's the evil guy with his cool ship and his solar sail in front. That's where the name comes from. Solar wind.
The big news today, which will be...
Should we go for the
Yeah, we-
elephant in the
We
room?
should go for the drum
Yeah.
roll. The drum roll here.
Okay.
Obviously, there'll be lots of photographs online following on this. But the drum roll moment here is that this is the first outing of your... And Catlin, this is how you pronounce it. It's tourbillon. Is that right?
That's right.
Yay!
Yes.
How do you do that in Scottish?
Tourbillon. A turbine.
Tourbillon. Yeah.
Good.
Like,
It's like an Indian headdress.
exactly. It's like tourbillon as in turban.
Turban. Yeah,
So
that's.
you have... is this connected to the K1 movement, or is it entirely separate from it?
Entirely separate.
It's entirely separate. There's no crossover.
Yeah.
So this is a development in association with
Le Jus Perret.
Le Jus Perret, your own tourbillon.
Heard of them before.
We have
They're
heard
quite
of them
good.
once or twice.
Yeah.
Your own tourbillon, whatever movement, thing that spins round.
Yeah.
It's cool. And as Ricky likes to say, this is set up to do what, Ricky?
What?
Revolution. It's not revolution.
Disrupt industry.
Disrupt the industry.
Yeah.
Yay.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah.
That's our game changer.
You do the glove thing, huh?
I do the
And
glove thing.
everyone has to wear gloves.
Are they radium filled?
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
brought four
Yeah,
of these.
we get it. I can do that. You don't.
We'll get in trouble with
because if
with
I
their
don't
boss.
do that, my wife's angry with me.
Keep the wife happy.
You should comply with the wife thing, and
But it's her fault that you're in the watch industry.
the problem with these is that they are so new off the shelf, and we didn't even make any picture.
Right,
And
okay.
if we scratch that,
If we scratch that,
yeah,
it's really
then
been all
We
So
put
you
the
thought you
straps
would-
on this week.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, before we came
Did you
here.
use Adrian's Bark and Jack's guide to how you fit straps onto watches?
No.
No, that's probably just
okay.
as well because trash is his.
but it's a little bit. it is completely independent thing, because if we would have to do that all by ourselves, we would need another 5 to 7 years, which is too long. We don't have so much time.
So why did you want to do a tourbillon watch? Just because you had?
Yeah, you know,
Started as
nobody
a ripple.
knows how difficult is that. Everybody says, yeah, industrial movement.
Right.
Yes, but everybody says, ooh, tourbillon, oh, that's very difficult.
Spinny thing.
And it is difficult because you need to put a lot of parts in a very small space.
But an example would be to build that is 0 to 100, and then to build from that, when you've got that experience, to this, how much more is it? An extra 20, 30?
We are working on another movement called K2, very flat, 2.9 millimeter micro rotor stuff.
No, we weren't supposed to talk about that.
I
we
do
shouldn't
love
do
a
that.
good mic.
Okay.
I do love a good micro rotor.
You're not the boss.
He is the boss, but he's not supposed to talk about it. It's out now out.
But in general,
Micro rotor, I'm
I think
all
we
for
can
micro
now
rotor.
come up with something like this based on all that experience, 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And then we probably could do something like this also.
This is stunning.
It is great, isn't it?
Killer, huh?
It's
Yeah.
great. I like the gold one.
I like the bulbs, I like the blue one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
and to be
cool.
honest, why did we do that? Because it looks cool.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Simple thing, and it's fascinating, and the person actually who at this time was the CEO of Le Jouperet was always our background consultant.
Right.
Florian Serex, actually, he's one of these few people who really know about industrial movement making and manufacture, because he also was CEO of Rocher Manufacture.
All right, okay.
And so he was there, and we looked at all these cool tourbillon movements, and yeah, can't we do something together? And then we started to design, based on an existing gear train, our movement around that and the product. And the product doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's up
can
for
listeners
discussion.
get a
Okay.
chance to name it?
We have the name game going right now, actually, on our website. We
brainstorm.
posted it last night.
Right.
All right.
So we welcome anybody to come
Yeah, and
in
it's
When are
Look at
you
it, provide-
going to close the book on what it's called?
when you
pretty soon, because we actually have
What about
to stamp the
tourbillon,
cases.
like
Yeah.
tourbillon?
all buried angles.
Yeah.
And so
A Porgion. Yeah.
The porridge watch.
Porge watch. Yeah. Porge. Yeah.
it's so when you look at that, we said, okay, can we come up with something which doesn't look so dusty? First of all, I don't like tourbillons where you punch a hole into a dial and then you have this hole in there. It looks like awkward. So, but most of them also look very similar. The skeletonizing very often is very similar.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, we have the squares, this mosaic style in our logo. Probably we can do something with that. And then we said, okay, we design with these squares in a way that we can have maximum beveled angles, but in a way that you can do that with a machine, because otherwise nobody could pay that.
Yeah.
And it probably wouldn't look that good, because if you have straight stuff and you bevel it by hand, then it doesn't look straight anymore. And that's how we came up with that thing. And it's a flying tourbillon, because we don't want to have this bone, Bones are for the dogs, but not for our watches. And there's a little logo that's also cool.
The way we've got the light set up here in 29, you can't see this just now, Rick, which is
I've
great, but
already
we can
seen
see it.
Yeah.
epic.
And you see the logo when you look into the light. It's done with a femtosecond laser, and so it's actually creating rainbow color.
Is that what they
Reflections.
use for eye surgery?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. And when you look at it in a certain light, it changes the color. This logo here. So there's a lot of small stuff in there.
So when is
And,
this coming out?
We will. So the plan for that is we will do that on order, only one time,
Okay.
and everybody who orders and buys one gets one, and afterwards gone, nothing anymore. How much?
Yeah, it's been secret until now.
Is it still confidential?
We had
or-
said it's sub 15, sub 10, and we will be 7,000 Swiss francs.
7,000 Swiss francs.
Yes.
Not too bad, huh?
I mean, when you write out the specs of this, and you look at it and you go, no, that's never going to work if you put a tourbillon together with that kind of skeletonized.
Did you guys hear that I got my deposit back from the Zenith Inventor?
Yes, exactly.
Actually, I did hear that.
Yeah.
For the cost of the deposit, let alone the Zenith.
Yeah.
You want to put it on?
After we do photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd be the first one to try one on, probably.
No, it's a product also for our soul.
Yes.
We just wanted to do that, and we wanted to make it a wearable thing. It shouldn't be a tourbillon which you put in your safe.
Correct.
Watches should be worn, and that's what we do, and that's why it is also a very slim, not too big, not too small. Really a daily wear, where when you wear that thing, you say, really something to talk about that. And it was an amazing design process. It was less engineering, I would say, rather than more trying to design on these plates what you can do with it. And the escapement inside is silicon. So because we, together with the CEO, we developed actually the whole silicon escapement know-how, the geometry of it.
Right.
And that's why the Joubert is also starting to use silicon escapements.
It kind of shouldn't work like a tourbillon in that kind of...
It's only seen these now in real
All
life.
together,
Yeah,
it's
you see them.
stunning.
Because I couldn't get my head around the design philosophy when I saw the images on Instagram, because it's on a phone and it's small. But seeing the way the wheels match up with the grid, and like you say, the faceted edges when the light hits it, it works. So
And
hopefully the video will
the
show
light
that
is
off.
crazy. This 30 degrees beveling thing. I mean, the CNC machine is diving in with a knife and really cutting out these things. It's machining process already cool. and that makes
3
it,
times.
and when you shift it a little bit in the light, that makes it incredibly sparkling. And that's a cool thing about it. And we try to bring down the cost by applying our way of thinking, that industrial manufacturing expertise into the manufacture product like that.
I mean, you're talking about Swiss-made, hand-assembled tourbillon for, I'm not sure what it'll convert to in pounds and VAT and all the rest of it, but basically $7,000.
Yeah.
The next up would be the tag, which is about 14.
14.
Okay, you might be able to buy some Chinese assembled nonsense for less, but it's not.
But that's a really
assembled.
different,
It's not.
different
it's a
thing.
different game.
Tourbillon cage in China usually is steel or brass stuff, but if you want to have a precise tourbillon, and we could reach cost level precision for that, then you need to have a titanium tourbillon cage, because everything must be super lightweight. Otherwise, you do not get a precise watch.
Right. Okay.
And that's what makes these things a little bit more expensive. Although, I don't know, it has to be so expensive as it is marketed now from many other companies. Does the cost of sales for something like this really justify an outrageous price? Probably not.
But we're also working with no margin, pretty much.
It's a no margin product, but we would like to have a lot of people enjoy that. And if we make that thing too expensive because we dream about artificial margins, which at the end turn out to be evaporating somewhere, then nobody has any fun with that. And our job is to make sure we do that on demand. So we produce on order only, that we do not have any waste. So there we save cost. We produce efficiently what needs to be done efficiently, and we control the cost on that. And then you can offer to a good price.
No, they're phenomenal. I'm very, very, very impressed now that I'm seeing them.
I don't know if this is called affordable.
Affordable luxury.
It's a luxury
To use another
watch.
sort of
It's never
term.
affordable.
No, it's an amazing product.
Is there anything else we've missed on the table? I mean, we've kind of shot our load with the big boy here, but I think, is there anything else we have missed? How about the Super Open, the Array?
This
The Array,
Eric,
Yeah. Let's just have a quick look at that before we
this
finish up.
was.
Who does who does the straps? Because you've got quite
The straps
a
are crazy.
wide variety
This strap.
of different straps.
The straps all come from Switzerland.
Right.
And I just
Yeah.
recently shot a video of the strap manufacturing, and it'll come out later on, and so you'll be able to see how that process works.
I'll give you the IP address of Adrian so that you can block access to it, because he'll just go trying to
They'll
buy
just steal
straps.
it.
He'll just trying to source them.
Strap. Yeah, this was the strap material. Actually, we got from a friend of us who studied in London shoe design, and she killed a cow and got that leather made for her master's degree thing, and we said if you don't need the rest, we will probably take
There
it.
go all the vegans that were watching.
Okay. And that's how this strap came along. And the watch, the open thing was it was an accident. It's kind of an homage watch.
Have you got
for our own work?
Why is the strap on the wrong way around?
Yeah, probably wrong assembled.
Okay.
The Japanese. No, that's it. We discovered why.
Seiko do this, don't they?
But I discovered why
But
they do
girls,
it. So
very often, because a lot of female buy that one, they reverse install it very often.
Because they don't know any better.
Other half.
So historically, apparently the reason why Japanese watches come with the straps the other way around is because if you've got a watch on just now, it's considered rude.
Yeah.
The tongue is facing you, so the strap they put the other end so the tongue is facing the person. Is apparently what I was told. It could be completely made up.
Allegedly.
Could be.
Could be.
No, this is the watch. Jonas was wearing always a watch without any dial, without anything. The first Kickstarter campaign was an accident. I was coming in the office, I saw the movement in his watch. It looks cool, kind of nothing in there.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we use it for a campaign?
Right.
That's how the watch was created. And then in the second, we made it, worked on it a little bit more, but it's for all of us kind of a reminder how much shitload of work is in that movement.
Yep.
And other people like that. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. So
Now, have you guys got anywhere in the UK? Because obviously you're based abroad, but is there anywhere in the UK that you sell these things? Or is it all just going to be ordering online?
currently online, but we are looking for retail partners who want to work together with us and build a retail network.
So get in touch with us.
I'm hearing footsteps as barkandjack.shop comes charging at the door.
Possibly. Commission. Yeah.
No, it's the next step. Yeah, it's what we work on, and we have also an idea for that. We do not just sell watches to a retailer and hope that he's selling it to someone else. So we really want to work together with people who are interested in a better way of retailing, because this thing is sick. We all know.
Yeah.
I think I might have found a use for Horage, Ricky.
You may have. Yep. Tock Show. Yeah. So listen, it's been absolutely fantastic having you guys across. We've obviously got our meet and greet tonight in Glasgow in association with Red Bar. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be good for the other guys to get to see firsthand. It's all very well watching videos, but seeing
reality.
these things in real life it is incredible. Rick, so anything you want to say?
What we need is one of those jars and some we're going by a bulk load of Tic Tacs or whatever, and we can decide whether I was right and that the Autark is wonderful, or that you were right and that you don't like it. Because I think, see the other ones, especially the one on the strap, that's a good looking watch. No, the one in front of it. No, the other in front of it.
That one.
That one.
This one is not
watch.
as shit.
One day we're going to have Rolex sitting in that seat, and that's what you're going to say to the Cellini.
Oh, I will do that. No,
It's
that is
hard
actually
titanium,
quite nice.
yeah?
It is actually quite nice. And the way, the lights in here, the way things are set up, it looks
So
great.
in order for it to be nice, really what you're saying is you need to be followed around by a lighting
It
crew.
needs to have 4 independent studio lights aimed at it to look great.
I do like that a lot. That's very cool.
No, this guy here.
No, thank you very much, guys. Yeah. We've been kind of stalking you and vice versa and exchanging messages for a long time. It's been great getting to know you on Instagram and by email, but it's been phenomenal actually meeting you in person. And I hope it's not the first time we do this, because clearly you're producing some stuff that is more than worthy of the watch community to pay it some serious attention and to engage with it and to frankly consider buying it.
Yeah.
That tourbillon, turban, whatever we're going to call it, tourbillon is quite stunning.
Actually, for the first 50, anybody who attends our events, like tonight, where we're collect people's names and email addresses that want to be a part of the pre-order, they'll have an option of gold cases as well. So they'll be able to upgrade into gold case. And we're also considering if we'll offer a cost certification with it as well.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, guys, for coming across. We're sure tonight will be interesting, and then we'll let the dust settle. We'll get this video out, and then what we'll do is we'll have a catch-up and we'll get a podcast recorded as well. Because people like to listen in the car instead of watching.
So where should they hunt you guys down on the internet? Is it porridge.com? No, Horage.com. Horage.com.
Horage.com or .info. They both direct to the same location. We have a forum as well where we are talking about the Tourbillon project where people can engage and they can provide input. We brought people through the cases, the design process, through strap selection, through the name game as well. And so they can interact with us there. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and we are slowly getting the wheels rolling with our YouTube channel and providing some more content there as well.
Thanks for everybody tuning in and watching this. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we have been here. We do a podcast twice a week if you don't already know about it. So wherever you listen to podcasts, if that's Apple Podcasts, even on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere at all, search Scottish Watches. Check out our website, scottishwatches.co.uk, and our Instagram.
Thank you very much for coming. Goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from all these guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Goodbye.